Welcome to the Sport and Society Squad pod, aka The Sass. Each week, we bring you 3 Sport or Society stories to break down and give our sassiest takes. With those sassy takes, we do want to give you a content warning that some of the language used on the pod may be explicit. We ask that you please just be mindful of where you're listening and who you are listening with. With that, let's get into it. I'm here with my co-host, Chelsea. How are we doing?
We're doing fine, just like living, laughing. I really want the summer weather to be better.
Oh my gosh, I know.
I'm literally wearing a sweatshirt.
Same.
like, I don't know. It was like end of May, and I was like, oh my God, we're gonna miss June gloom. That was a lie.
Hard lie.
But so like besides that, like I'm doing pretty good. So yeah. Anyways, I want to take us through a quick huddle. We're going to cover a few sport and society stories, not stories, just highlights from this past week, so our listeners feel like they are in the
Baby stories.
know. Maybe stories. My notes are kind of long, but so folks feel like they're in the know with the pop culture and sports world. Here are a few huddle highlights that we will not be breaking down in too much depth. I think are worthy to note. So in sport. In the MNBA news, God,
it's hard.
In Mumba news,
men's NBA.
Yeah, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They won the 2025 NBA Finals. Sounds like such a juicy part. I'm sorry.
It's shitty.
It's yeah, it's perfect for this moment. Defeating the Indiana Pacers, Seattle fans are booing.
Boo.
And farting.
I mean, it was a good series. Game 7. Sad that Tyrese Halliburton got an Achilles injury in the game because it was so close up. And anyways, was it
sad. First quarter? Was it? Or yeah,
it was early. Yeah, it was early on in the game. I think.
Damn.
It might have been the second quarter. I don't. Anyways, it was sad, but
I wouldn't know, so I believe you.
OKC, I guess, gets the crown.
Okay.
See? You did it. I did it. You did it.
You did it. We gotta get over it. I guess in more Mumba news and NBA news, the Houston Rockets acquire Kevin Durant from the Phoenix Suns. With this deal, the Rockets are giving up Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, and 6 future picks, including the number 10 pick in the opening round of the upcoming draft.
That's crazy.
It low-key feels like huge news.
It is. I saw an article on ESPN that was like, the Rockets are trying to upstage OKC from the championship with this trade.
Honestly, respect. Like, see it and I respect it. So I guess we'll hear what Kevin. Well, and didn't Kevin? Am I crazy? Did Kevin Durant used to play on the Sonics?
Yeah.
So even better. It feels like a double whammy. In hockey news, the Florida Panthers beat out Edmonton. Did we say this last week?
Yeah.
We did?
Yeah.
No way.
Maybe not. Either way, maybe people didn't listen last week and they want this update for this week.
Let's just see what day it was.
I mean, you can just still say it. It's okay if it's a duplicate. It's not wrong.
What day?
The Florida Panthers beat out the Edmonton Oilers for back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. Go off, Panthers.
We didn't say it.
Oh.
We didn't say it because they won on June 17th, which would be a day after.
Oh, shit, my bad.
Saying. It's okay. I'm not upset.
We predicted that we were going to say it. That's what we did. We think in my hockey story.
Which, yeah. So, but back-to-back. I mean, that's... I don't know. It's pretty fucking cool. And I think I read an article that was like, we still got it. And I'm like, are they going for the 3-peat? Like the Chiefs were a preview and they said hockey. Sorry. I don't know.
Maybe.
In college baseball news, LSU won the Men's College World Series this past weekend, beating Coastal?
Yeah, that's the name of the school.
2 games. Wow. Never heard of it, surprisingly.
Neither did I. But I'm also not in the baseball world. And 2 games because it's like best out of 3.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? Just out of 3.
I
Okay.
think so. Yeah.
Well, kind of respect that. In golf news, Australian Minjee Lee wins the women's KPMG PGA. Jesus Christ, say your ABCs championship and third major of 5. That's
She
huge.
didn't I don't know if she won her 3rd major, but that's the 3rd major of 5 majors of the LPGA Tour.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah.
Snaps to Miss Lee. In local sport news, Cal Raleigh of the Seattle Mariners hit his 30th home run of the season,
Wow.
beating out multiple records, including most homers by a switch hitter before an All-Star break, most by a primary catcher before the All-Star break, and fastest player since 2001 to reach 30 homers. He also joined a few Hall of Famers as the only catchers in history with 3 or more 30-plus home run seasons. So I think Big Dumper is a big deal.
Oh, yeah. Heck, that's
That's
awesome.
huge.
Yeah.
And like what Ida was saying, there's like, I can't remember, Aaron Judge and someone else who's in
Oh,
second and third.
Shosh
Shohei Ohtani. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like they're getting all the play. And I'm like, this dude is literally beating. There's like multiple records. But whatever. Sometimes it's good to be, a fly on the wall and just like kind of killing it.
You're
So
like, "It's okay, haters. I will show you."
I will tell you all. In society news, and more specifically in music news, Bass's Carol Kay shared online that she is declining the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction permanently. Kay is a seasoned and well-known artist, and she played on songs with the Beach Boys, Simon and Garfunkel, and Barbara Streisand. And your face is telling me you may be asking, like, why is she declining
Yeah.
these? She said that she's, quote, turning it down because it wasn't something that reflects the work that studio musicians do and did in the golden era of the 1960s recording hits.
I don't understand what that means.
I also do not know enough to know what that means, but I think it could be a future story because this will all go down in the fall.
She just thinks because it's rock and roll and her stuff's not rock and roll, so it doesn't reflect.
Maybe. I also, this is what's interesting to me as when I was like reading about this, is that I think the Sex Pistols also declined and said like, please don't, but then they inducted them like when they died, like post him. And I'm like, so is that gonna happen to her? Like, that's kind of fucked up.
Damn.
And by her like making it so well known, I don't know, I'm sure they did too, but I was just kind of like, So I don't know. I support. You don't have to be in the Hall of Fame if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, choose your own story and journey, but
yeah,
maybe a future story. I don't know. In book news, which this kind of got me, and apparently, I guess it's happening on Book Talk, aka TikTok for books. They're having a moment, and I guess it's like not fun. I'm not on TikTok. I'm burping, but I'm not on TikTok. Wow, was that like an emotional reaction? I don't know. It's being reported that popular author Allie Hazelwood left Instagram after quote unquote bullying from fans. And what was it? I think I could be so wrong, but like the reason she got bullied was because she was asked at like a book event. I can't remember if it was about Twilight. I'm pretty sure it was about Twilight. Like she was like, I'm team this person or whatever. And fans like went into the comments hard.
Wow.
It might not be Twilight. I did just watch this.
Something like that.
Yeah. So something like that. So that sucks. That happened in the like last month or this month. And then in addition to that, an entire like a totally different book and author. The book is Revelry by Laura J. Robert. Is also under fire. It's being accused of plagiarism from a book I think that was published in like 2013. And some people are speculating that there is use of AI for writing the book.
Oh, shit.
I don't think that there's like any comment from the author. And I'm just going to point out that the book that they're saying was plagiarized, like the name of that person, like their
pen name,
the initials are like flipped. So it's like Laura J. Robert, but then it's like Raina something Lee. Like it's just like, what, this is weird. And also could just be book talk, like.
Yeah, but it's also like an interesting question of like, would you read an AI written book? I mean, that's not the full question because it's like plagiarism.
Oh
but
my
like,
God.
I'm like, do you like, Yeah, because I think book talk can be a little unhinged and not always reliable for good books, but shit gets popular.
100%
Like,
there.
I've read some book talk books and I was like, "People are going ham for this book? That's crazy."
Literally that, and you're just yeah, I don't know. I guess we will see.
Mm.
We will see, but be careful at book talk, or in book talk or interacting with book talk. This one's big. In even more freaking music news, all 7 members of the popular South Korean band BTS have finished their mandatory enlistment duties. So that is something that's required by law in South Korea. This means that the group may unite in 2025. That would be 3 years after their last performance altogether. So
Mm. I didn't
BTS fans,
even know that they weren't together right now.
oh my God. I do remember hearing about this and I was like, oh my God. But you know what? They did it, and respect,
Yeah.
honestly.
I'm glad that they didn't, like, just because you're famous, you get to get out of something like that.
I think they were able to push it back till when they were 30 because I can't remember the age that it starts, but they were able to delay to keep their like professional career going, but then they committed and I thought that was kind of cool. So snaps to them and ready to see them dancing all over the world again. This one's kind of wild in art and museum news, which is not a common feature here, but the
We're
Louvre or
art
Louvre.
girlies.
Yeah, didn't you know? Well, I almost held up a painting that I made last week in Paris. The Louvre in Paris shut down unexpectedly last week due to untenable conditions for staff.
Hmm.
This also comes after a wave of anti-tourism spread across Southern Europe. The museum obviously has closed for things like the pandemic, world wars, safety concerns, and then I think kind of ironically similar complaints about tourism in 2013. But it's rare for it to close with like such little communication and notification. Like people were
Yeah.
lined up outside and ready to go in, and they were just like, no. But I also think like respect. Like there are, I guess, plans for the future with the government to help with staffing, regulation of visitors. They're talking about like timing of tickets to see the Mona
Mm.
Lisa, so not everyone's in there. And then also like maybe just all of us to take a moment to realize like that building's fucking old. Like
Yeah.
it needs repairs, and
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
yeah, it's taxing the workers, and I respect. I have nothing but respect for that, and
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully those
Tourists got to
plans
see it.
help.
Like, I was like, I have respect for the workers, and I would be like, if I had gotten a
Fuck.
ticket and then it was like, it's just closed, so you're not going to see it, I'd be like, are you kidding me? Okay.
It's true. It's true. So I guess we'll see what happens. And then lastly, if you can even believe it, music is musicking and more freaking music news. Singer Casey Musgraves shared with fans that she broke a rib in a hard fall in Mexico. I'm like, maybe too many marks? I don't know. But the accident has actually prevented her from being able to fly home for a planned performance. So fans are now having the choice to either see her at a date later in September or get a refund if they can't attend. And they get, I think, like 30 days to make that decision.
I mean, I
Um,
imagine trying to sing with a broken rib is very painful.
well, I don't know if she can even fly yet either. So it's just
Wow.
like, girly pop can't. I'm like, damn, that fall.
Well,
Maybe she's jumping into a cenote. I don't know. Anyway, so good vibes to Casey. Sorry for the fans. That is what's happening in the world in
in the
sport and
word
pop culture.
sport and pop culture.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh
what a
my
huddle, Chelsea. I do, before we jump into the rest of our episode, I do want to give our listeners a heads up that our summer break will be starting here shortly. So our last episode, our last episode will
You'll
be
see
on
our
July.
asses.
Hey, will be on July 3rd, and then we will return in late summer, early fall with the NFL season. So with that, let's get into today's playbook. We're going to dive into all the latest on flag football, and then we'll end with a discussion about the difference in major men's soccer tournaments. Major men's soccer tournaments. That's a little
I
bit.
know what, and also the order's wrong. So
It's okay. With that, we're going to kick it to Chelsea to get us started with our first story.
fuck, it's right back to me. These are so hard when we go back to back like this.
I was like, I can go.
And like, I'll just do it. Wrong order. We're talking about major men's soccer tournaments
everything.
today. Yeah. So if you tuned into our episode last week, I kind of outed myself in not knowing the difference between like various men's soccer tournaments. So that's why I kind of want to talk about it today. I also went to a Cup World Cup game on Thursday, and it just kind of felt rude that I didn't understand
Yeah.
the
Why you're there.
difference. Yeah.
Like,
why
what am I
even
watching?
and why are you here? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, this week I'm going to explain the difference between at least 3 major men's soccer tournaments that I've heard of and didn't realize were different things. Okay. There's probably more.
Yeah.
But these are the 3.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with the first, which is the World Cup. And I'm starting there because it feels the most obvious because it's
The World Cup.
in my mind is the World Cup.
Yeah.
So the FIFA World Cup is an international tournament that's held every 4 years by the Fédération Internationale de Football Association, FIFA. The tournament first began in 1930, which I just did not know, and it's only ever not been played during and then right after World War II. It's the only time it hasn't happened.
Oh my gosh, my story has stuff about World War II. That's crazy.
So are we turning into a World War II podcast?
Apparently.
Okay, Winston. Anyway, it started with just 13 international teams and is now up to 48. There have been a total of 22 World Cups, and Brazil has won the most tournaments with 5 wins, the last being in 2002. Germany and Italy fall right behind with each 4 wins themselves, and then Argentina is behind them with 3 wins, the latest, which was in 2022. So kind of huge. And then the next World Cup will be co-hosted by US, Canada, and Mexico. I'm sorry, how awkward is that going to be?
We're not invited to the party.
They said, sorry, you're not invited. So
in the middle.
Exactly. So that is the World Cup.
When is that one? 2026? It's every 4 years?
Yeah, next summer.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be next summer, every 4 years.
Okay.
Then we have something called the Cup World Cup.
Okay. This is what brought a lot of questions to me.
Yeah, this is where I get confused because
the Club World is it Club World Cup or Cup World Cup?
FIFA Cup World Cup.
It's stupid.
So FIFA World Cup and FIFA Cup World Cup. like get a more distinctive name. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is how I think it's the easiest to understand.
Okay.
The main difference between the World Cup is that the World Cup has wrong. I'm starting here wrong. The difference between the FIFA Cup World Cup is that has the best teams from different confederations.
Okay.
The World Cup is international teams. So I think the best example
like country
of this,
teams.
Exactly. So the best example of this would be Lionel Messi.
Okay.
He's playing right now for the MLS team Inter Miami, which is a confederation.
Gotcha.
It's not
instead of Argentina.
Instead of Argentina. So if it was the World Cup, he would be playing for Argentina. Those are like the differences.
But aren't also international teams playing in this too? Isn't
yeah,
US
but they're not like
not.
We played that was Paris.
But US men's team is playing, but then also Sounders is playing?
Dude, that's a different tournament going on
sorry,
right
my bad.
now. Yeah, no, I know, because last night I was on the TV and I said, that's happening right now too. So that's a whole ass other thing, which we'll get to in a minute.
Oh, okay, fuck, that's confusing.
Yeah, so like we played Atletico Madrid. They're from Spain. Like the club is from Spain, but they've got players from all over the world on that team.
Okay.
So that team from Spain is probably I don't think it's I think it's the only time they've ever played in Seattle. Could be the last time they play in Seattle. But players from all over the world are on their team.
Okay.
To make it like a little bit more confusing, I've also been saying like the Cup World Cup is just like a chameleon. Like
and how often?
Yeah, so this is why it's confusing because she keeps changing.
Okay.
So the first tournament for the Cup World Cup was in 2000, but then it just like wasn't held again until 2005. So they just like went on a hiatus. Then it was held annually, so it was played every fucking year until 2023. 2025 on, it's now being held every 4 years. So the same as the World Cup now. Now it's being played every 4 years. But it seems like it's kind of like staggered.
Yeah, but it feels like it shouldn't be staggered like the Summer and Winter Olympics because it's only World Cup's only next year and it's whatever. I'm not in the soccer community, so
my opinion is that it will change again. But
okay.
I'm not an expert.
Yeah, it sounds like
I'm
it.
not. But like people do tune in.
Let's first try to change the name and then the dates so people aren't so fucking confused.
Exactly. Well, there is a world in which with all these 3 tournaments, there could be 3 years of soccer, just 1 year without a major tournament. That's just me. Anyways, so so that's happening. I also tried to look up like who had won this tournament the most. Yeah. And I'll be so honest, like because it's changed so many times, like neither myself or Google AI could figure it out.
Wow.
So I don't know who's winning this the most, but somebody is. So that is the
I gotta imagine
FIFA Cup World Cup.
The teams change more, whereas like country, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
moving on.
It's real. Yeah, moving away from that forever. Then we have something really special called the CONCACAF.
Okay, that's what I've heard.
Which is what you're talking about. Yeah. So this is the last one I'm throwing in, and I'm going to be honest with you. Last night when it was on the TV, I said, what the fuck, man? Like, there's another one going on and it's separate. So it's another big tournament that happens. It is the Confederation of North, Central America, and the Caribbean Association of Football. Yeah. So it's not like Europe's not coming from this. This is just a certain group of spaces.
Kind of, yeah. Basically.
Yeah. It is itself a confederation recognized by FIFA, and they also host their own. This is what's so fucked up. CONCACAF itself is one thing. They host a Gold Cup. So there's for national teams, which was on the TV, and then they have a Champions Cup for clubs within that. So it's like a mini FIFA.
Okay. And it's going on at the same time as the Cup World Cup?
This year, yes. The National CONCACAF Gold Cup. So I just almost wanted QVB that, but that's fine. Yeah.
You the QVB term.
Oh, edit. I just want to double check that. Get it out of here. Don't keep it in.
Gosh.
Cut it, mark it, whatever you need to do.
It's too late. No one knows what I'm talking about.
That's fair.
Sorry, folks. We're using insider acronyms.
I was able to find out that Mexico has won the CONCACAF Gold Cup the most times with a total of 9 victories, which surprisingly they're followed by the United States with 7 wins. And Canada has won the tournament once.
All right.
And then Club America has won the Champions Cup the most with a total of 7 titles. And I'm going to be so fucking honest, I don't know what Club America is.
I was going to just say, so it's not just like you said club teams. It's not like sounded club, just Club America. Huh.
Yeah, but it's like got the dash over America, so it doesn't, not like US, it's a Club
America.
Mm-hmm. So
interesting. Okay.
And that's just 3. There's multiple other things going out there.
I feel like I appreciate this breakdown. I don't know if it helps me understand it more or less.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's not your fault. I think it's the Cup World Cup's fault. That's upsetting to me that's the name. And it feels like they're just very attention seeking and really trying to rain on CONCACAF's parade and maybe just getting money. Like it doesn't track for me.
It's feeling like money.
It's like the World Cup's baby brother that's like really annoying and won't leave anyone around. Leave you alone. And you're like, nobody actually wants to hang out with you. like just go do your own thing. Like don't have to copy everything exactly. Like have your own name. Have a better schedule.
Well, to be honest, I thought I was going to the World Cup, and then it was like, no, sorry, you're going to the Cup World Cup. But everyone's like, still a big deal. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Is it though? Is it a big deal?
It is because I've never when would I have seen Atletico Madrid unless I was there?
Oh, okay, it's a big deal.
That's fair. That's pretty cool to see it in your hometown, know. And like PSG, like the team from Paris, big deal, But. I don't know. Let us know. Do you want to know more about soccer, listeners? IDK.
Or maybe you educate us on soccer. Are we it makes sense to a lot of people and we just look like assholes that can't figure it out?
I
So
can't imagine if any of our listeners are not tuned in, like, to soccer, like, that they were like, "Oh, yeah, you didn't know that?"
you didn't know.
I trust our
Uh,
audience.
well, I love that. I'm gonna go into the city today, and I think there's some sort of soccer. It must be CONCACAF or Cup World Cup. I don't know
I
what's
think
happening.
It's Cup World Cup because 'cause we're hosting Cup World Cup here.
Oh, okay,
I have
we're
no idea where the CONCACAF is.
okay. Well,
I'm gonna look it up.
I'm mostly just trying to avoid the soccer stadium. With that, I'm going to transition us to our next story, which is the rise of flag football. So, I wanted to talk about this because one thing for folks that are into flag football or getting into it, I feel like it's definitely gotten a lot of popularity. Like a lot of schools have it as a club sport. My baby cousin, she plays flag football and is a beast. I went to our flag football
Yeah.
game in Miami, which was really cool. And it's actually really gaining a lot of traction in the youth side of things. Um, I think it's a varsity sport for girls in many states. And I think there's like
Whoa.
14 states recognizing it as like an actual school sport, not just a club sport. And the the NAIA, which is like a college um, body. It's not the
Yes.
NCAA, but they are have programs. The NCAA is considering adding flag football, and then
Hmm.
it got added to the 2028 Olympics as an official
Oh, sick.
sport for men's
Yeah.
and women. So right now, professional, like true, I don't want to say true professional, but they're looking at adding professional flag football too. So it's definitely a very big growing sport. It's very fast paced. It's a non contact version of American football, since apparently we're talking about football
I
today.
know, just the name, foot.
Yeah. For people that don't know, because I feel like, I don't know, you grew up here, you probably played flag football in PE, but players wear flags around their waist. Instead of tackling, person needs to remove the flag. Um, it's a lot more popular because it's like accessibility, safety, you're not getting tackled as much, but it's still pretty physical. So I don't want it to seem like
Yeah.
you're not like going after it. The origins, this is where World War II apparently was born during World War II at Fort Meade, Maryland as touch and tail football
Oh my
and was
god.
created as a safer training option for American soldiers. And then post war popularity surged after. So,
So we've been knowing it's safer for just 70 years.
yeah, like I was to say. So, there's like different formats, but it's either typically 5 versus 5 or 7 versus 7, depending on the
Yeah.
league. The AFFL, American Flag Football League, uses 7 versus 7, but for the Olympics, I believe it's going to be a 5 versus 5 format. And the field is like a little bit shorter than regular football. So it's 50 yards long, 25 yards wide, 10-yard end zone. So there's no tackling, blocking, or fumbles. Uh, Flag pulling replaces tackling. There's forward passes only, one lateral per play.
Yeah.
Defense must wait 2 seconds to rush unless using one of five blitzes per half. And quarterbacks have 4 seconds to throw across the line of scrimmage. And touchdown
Wow.
scoring, it's this like touchdowns are 6 points. Under 50 yard, I think, and this is where some of them change. So, like an AFL
Yeah.
touchdown, 6 points under 50 yards or 7 points over 50 yards, even though the field is, well, I guess you have 10-yard end zone. Anyways, and then extra points offered from different distances. So you can do a 1, 2, or 3 points.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, it's like a different kind of skill. It's interesting. I think I remember maybe it was for the Super Bowl last year, not even this one. They had this really cool commercial with, I believe she's from Mexico, a flag football player, and kind of like talking about getting women's flag football like more popular. And now men's flag football is around. Um,
Yeah.
and the NFL is looking at exploring elite pro leagues and like a global series to like have some sort of permanence beyond Olympics. One of the things that I was reading
Ooh.
that was kind of interesting, and I would love your thoughts on this, is
Yeah.
um, the NFL this like just in May said that they will allow NFL players to play in or just try out for the flag football team league for the Olympics. But like what I was reading, it was saying each team is allowed one player to try out for the team, and
Whoa.
and uh, one of the star flag football men's players kind of was like, uh, not shade, but it was like flag football is different than regular football. Like you have to, it's a different kind of skill set, how you're like the quickness and the speed because you got like flags instead of just going for a tackle. And like this assumption that just because you play NFL football, like you're going to make the team. And some people are like, this is like a different sport. And then all of a sudden, these NFL players all of a sudden get to go in. I'm kind of like, and I'm kind of like, if they make the team and they're good at flag football, like I could see, like, yeah, they're these big professionals and they're like, do they need to like come into a league that's been amateur? The people playing currently are doing all the work to make it popular. And then also you got NFL
Mm,
players coming to like take the glory.
mm,
And I also see if they're an NFL player because football, American football is not in the Olympics. Like there is something cool about the opportunity to be able to play for your country and try to get a medal because like
yeah.
most other sports you can. So that's kind of like an interesting little like spin that people are talking about with flag football coming to the
Yeah.
Olympics.
I didn't even think about that. I mean, my first thought, you kind of talked about it, but my first thought was like, how, if you're playing tackle football, what are the chances you're just going to go into like reflexive mind and just
Mm,
fucking take some, that's where I kind of think of like, if they're able to be successful by playing the actual rules, like, that's a skill. Like, we don't
mm-hmm.
say like when, I mean, I don't know if he was like a star player, but like nobody was like, I can't believe Michael Jordan like is he's taken away from baseball because he went and played
Yeah,
baseball, like I think it's a totally different set of skills. I do hear exactly what you're saying of like this community. It's not the same as like the MLB because it's been around for so
yeah,
long and already has. But like you said, I kind of think also like the NFL is already doing its due diligence by limiting the amount of people that could try. No one's guaranteeing them a
yeah,
spot, and
yeah,
they're also trying to be conscious of saying like, "Hey, we're not sending all of the top people
yeah,
from our teams to take. We're just saying one person per team can go, and if
yeah,
they do well, then they'll make the team." But I don't know, like they might not have the skills for it, but also I totally agree with you of like they don't have an option to win gold in the Olympics like basketball, soccer,
yeah,
a bunch of other
yeah,
sports. Like it would be a cool thing. And I'm sorry, taking this, I'm probably maybe I'm wrong, but if they make the Olympic team, they're going to have to step away from the opportunity that they're having at the NFL because the training schedule and where they travel has to mess up with your summer schedule of preparing
probably
for
not
the
with
fall.
football, maybe a little bit.
But you wouldn't be with your team the whole year. Like you'd have to probably be
No,
training with
but a
your
lot of like for like the basketball is you have certain and I don't know how it's something to look into later how like teams qualify cuz like for the basketball for example in the lead up maybe it's summer off season like they had qualifying tournaments so they got together and they had practices. So there's like certain like it's not you're not with the team all year in preparation. There's certain like windows of
No,
like
but
practice.
I'm thinking about like basketball usually kicks off like end of October, right?
Yeah, I think it will be
NFL's
like
kicking off in like early
yeah,
August for preseason. So like
yeah,
the Olympics goes through second week of August. Like
yeah.
you will be gone while your
You'll be
team's
late.
kind of
Yeah,
finalizing. So you
yeah,
could be and again, I don't know how NFL teams work, but if I'm the coach and someone's been off doing something, but someone on the team's
yeah,
been training, you are giving up a little bit of an opportunity you may have had. Maybe it'll totally change when you come back, but
yeah,
it's just another thing to consider, I guess.
yeah. I mean, because I know like for the WNBA season is during the Olympic season and they take an Olympic break. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting to pick like which teammate or what one player will try out because of the different positions, and it's not as there's not as many people as like
Yeah.
on the football field. So
Who knows?
who knows? But I'm also just more excited on the growth on the women's side. Like I think it would be,
Yeah.
of course, that it feels like in this conversation, the men's and NFL is like overshadowing the conversation. But I think what's really cool too with the growth of flag football is the growth of girls flag football and giving girls the option in like high school and stuff. And I mean, I was talking to
Yeah.
my cousin about it, and I was like, "Could you get a scholarship to go to school for that?" And like, she's like, "Yeah, I like." She has teammates that have that, and so I just really love that opportunity for the sport. And then it's
Yeah.
not about like getting a bunch of concussion. Like you could still get a concussion, but it's not the same kind of physicality, but still a cool sport. So I'm here for like what the growth of flag football is going to happen in the States. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like it also has to be big enough around the world for them to enter it into the Olympics, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think it's,
So
yeah,
yeah.
I think because it's hosted in LA, that was kind of one of the, yeah, we'll see if it
Mm,
will stay as an Olympic
yeah.
sport too.
We shall see. Well, I can't wait to learn and see more about that. But I think this is where we wrap the pod for today. So let us know what stories you want. We've only got one more week before the summer break, but if you're feeling and itching for something very particular, maybe. If not, season 2, baby.
Don't forget to hit follow and subscribe to our show on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple, and turn on notifications so you can stay up to date on all the latest sports and society stories.
And please, please, please don't forget to rate the pod. But in the meantime, stay sharp, stay sassy, and we'll catch you next time.